Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It's December 29th, 2017. The top news story this morning is the fire in the Bronx that began last night. They're comparing this fire to something that happened in 1990 on March 25th, also in the Bronx. I want to show you what's so interesting about yesterday's fire and also what's so interesting about the March 25th fire 27 years ago. In case you're new here, talk about the language of gematria. I've exposed many times how fires have been set on purpose, hurting people, and then being blamed on false causes. A very notable one from recent history was in the United Kingdom on June 14th. And in case you're new here, this is what gematria is, the practice of coding numbers into letters. What you're looking at, English ordinal, that's the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z. The 26th letter is 26. Reverse ordinal is Z is 1, up to A is 26. And these two methods are just using the rules of numerology. You make each letter a single digit, then you add. For example, in this method, Z is worth 8 because it's the 26th letter. 2 plus 6 is 8. In this method, A is 8 because A is the 26th letter in reverse. 2 plus 6 is 8. So anyway, United Kingdom, 146. June 14th fire in the United Kingdom, 14/6. It was an apartment fire. And there's a whole lot more to the story, but what happened there was not accidental. I want you to see this word Grenfell, how it has gematria of 43 and 38. We're going to come back to that number in light of the Bronx, or I should say those numbers. We'll also talk about 137. This happens more often than you think. It's happened since that apartment fire, but that was a big one that's probably still in a lot of people's minds, so I brought it up. Anyhow, 12 dead reportedly. Here we are in the 12th concluding month of the Gregorian calendar year. We'll get to why 12 matters. But first, notice this happened on the 28th day of December, and Bronx has the gematria of 28. So does the word kill. People were killed in this. They're blaming it on a little boy, but I'm guessing that is not the case. Notice NY has gematria of 12. So does NYC when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. December, the 12th month, equals 37. Remember, 37's the 12th prime. That's why I guaranteed there would be a Triple Crown winner the year it happened. The year American Pharoah won the Triple Crown, he became the 12th Triple Crown horse 37 years after the last Triple Crown winner. The entire world of sports is rigged. There are no exceptions. Anything that there's gambling on is rigged by this code. Your news is also contrived every single day by this code, and the reason why is because it's Freemasonry running the entire show. Freemasonry, a powerful network, well established, created the United States of America, controls media, government, and so many other things. So December 37, the 12th prime, 12th month, 12 dead, and they blamed it on a boy. Boy has that gematria of 12. I noticed this morning CNN had out these photos, the fire truck with the 33 on it. Number of masonry, masonry equals 33, secrecy 33, order 33, New York happens to equal 33. Notice they say first in 25 years, but then you read the story and the fire was in 1990. That's 27 years ago. It's not coincidental that they're using the number 25, even though they know it's the worst in 27 years. And the article also says not counting September 11th. But here's the reason they went with 25. Because the word fire has gematria of 25. It's really 27 years, but they want to put 25 before your eyes for a reason. And that's another thing I remind of. When they report the dead in these stories, such as 12 dead, last night they said at least 12 dead. This morning they're saying 12 have died. It's possible that less or more have died, but they just want to report that number because it's part of a ritual. These numbers are ritualistic to the people who report the media. And notice this is the big story on the 29th. The word arson also has gematria of 29. Arson 29. Or wait, was it arsonist? Wait a minute. Oh, I know what it is. It's pyro. Excuse me. Somebody who likes to play with fire. Pyro has the gematria of 29. Just like fire, this story coming on the 29th. Also relevant, there's a movie coming up about September 11th called 12 Strong. 12 Strong. And notice what day they're releasing that movie, January 19th. Somebody called into my radio show this week to let me know about this. January 19th, this movie comes out, 12 Strong, 119, the way the date September 11th is written in the majority of the world, 11/9. They're blaming this fire from the boy on a stove fire. Stove fire 119, fireman 119. We'll get to the firemen on September 11th as a reminder. Something to teach there about that. Here's the reporting. Excluding the September 11th attacks, it was the worst fire in the city since 87 people were killed at a social club in the Bronx in 1990. The Bronx again. Also last night, the New York Knicks lost by 12 points. They lost to the Spurs, who scored 119. Remember Spurs with the Francis Bacon cipher sums to 119. Spurs got their 25th win. Again, the world of sports and news are directly scripted together. We just saw this last Friday with the rocket launch by SpaceX in Southern California. That rocket was seen over Los Angeles, at least what they said was a rocket. Remember how that was scripted with sports and the NBA. James Harden scored 51 points both games against Los Angeles. He played the Lakers and the Clippers. The second time he scored 51 was the night of the launch. And that launch came 51 days after the Houston Astros beat the Los Angeles Dodgers in LA 5-1. 5-1. Houston Astros equals 51. Conspiracy equals 51. Think about Area 51. Outer space, when you take into exception, S is 10, outer space is also 51. The word moon equals 51. Think about Area 51 in regards to outer space and conspiracy. 51 days after the Houston Astros. Astro has to do with space travel. 51 days after they win 5-1 over the team from LA. You got the player from Houston scoring 51 in back-to-back games, coinciding with the launch. And we've seen the rockets used with the space program and news several times before. This is nothing new. So again, just to remind, sports, news, scripted. And all of basketball is scripted from the final score to the box score. Technology is used in these games to ensure scores. You know, so many people say, how could they do that? How could they do this? How do we have smartphones, you guys? How do we have phones? How do we have television? We can't explain the technology around us. Just because you can't understand technology doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You know? So anyway, I don't think it's a coincidence that the Knicks lost by 12 the same night as this news of the fire and 12 dead. Now check it out. Here's the fire that killed 87. It was March 25th. That's the 84th day of the year. Masonry 84, Jesuit 84, United States of America 84. This was the Happy Land fire. It was blamed on an arson. Look at this. Happy Land equals 43 and 38. Remember I said remember those numbers. Grenfell equals 43 and 38, which burned. Let me check something real quick. What was it? Pyro also has this gematria 74. Remember the Grenfell Tower opened in 74 and then burned 43 years later. You know? Pyro, like to play with fire. But look, Happy Land, 4338. Fireman, 4338. The Bronx, 4338, where these fires have happened now. Fire, also 38 alone, just like death is 38, like murder's 38, like killing's 38. Last year, 2016, on Thanksgiving, Ford and Dennis Leary and the Dallas Cowboys combined for this feel-good story. Supposedly in Dallas, the most depleted fire station was Fire Station 43. Dallas Cowboys 43, Ford 43. This was an advertisement for Ford trucks. Fireman 43, as we just covered. 43 showing all over the place. You know, they're saying, look at how bad Fire Station 43 is. Their couch is all worn out. Understand, this is all contrived crap, just like everything on TV is. Your rigged sports games, your predetermined news, you know, national emergency on 911. 43 Ford. Don't forget the word Masonic equals 43 either. But then they get to this part in the story and they bring up Dennis Leary's foundation for the firefighters who died on September 11th. The Leary Firefighters Foundation. Perfectly named because the Leary Firefighters Foundation sums to 343. And why does that matter? This is for the September 11th firefighter victims, which supposedly 343 died. Again, all throughout this nation, first responders such as police and firemen are used to wage chaos against the people. Sadly, a lot of these men are your real terrorists. They set fires on purpose. A lot of police really do murder people. You know, they get dressed up in costumes and pretend to be villains, all to create these horror stories we hear in the news. You know, this is what's really going on. September 11th was carried out by your own government. Undeniable. The Leary Firefighters Foundation also sums to 163, the 38th prime. Firemen and fire both have gematria of 38. Watch football. Buy more trucks. Drink beer. Watch rigged sports games. Believe lies. Get programmed. This is what it is. And I did see Bill de Blasio on the TV this morning, and he said, it's just so sad to have to report this tragedy during the holidays. And you guys, I mean, that's the other thing. Let's just say that this was a real fire and 12 people died. You know what? Who cares? Why does this need to be a national news story? Why do any of us need to know about it? Why do we need the negativity? You know, they only want your mind to focus on certain things. Every single day they could run the story about how 10,000 people overweight dropped dead because they died from a toxic diet, you know? And why do we have such toxic diets? Why are there so many fat, obese people in this nation? It's because the government subsidizes toxic foods. They want us addicted to toxic foods because then we get all this disease and illness that's completely avoidable that, you know, these corporations make all this money off treating, you know, pharmaceuticals, surgery. They just want your mind focused on certain things. Nobody needs to know about 12 people dead in a fire. Doesn't even matter, you know, doesn't even matter. 10,000 people are going to die today, tomorrow, the next day from a toxic diet, you know. Your government, they want to act like they care about you. Ooh, don't smoke marijuana, even though it's medicine. Don't smoke marijuana, it's so bad. But here, eat all this toxic junk food that will surely kill you, that'll give you cancer. You know, drink this alcohol here. You gotta love how the government demonizes marijuana, but then, you know, promotes alcohol. Alcohol, a drug that'll really screw you up. This whole nation, it's just all mind control. It's all nonsense. When you learn the code, you see it's all done by the numbers. All of it. Always has been. Since long before any of us have been around. This goes back centuries. All right, Truth Seeker. We'll leave it there. Until next time.